Welcome to another episode of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, Real Live with the Real Secrets of Money with your host, myself, Damon the Agent. I want to thank each and every one of you all for joining me today. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2026. I will not be here on May the 15th, which is in about 3 weeks. So I'm just giving you a heads up in reference to I won't be online that day. But as always, if you're not following me, please follow me on all social media platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest. All right. And as always, I like to jump into the wonderful world of real estate. So today I'm going to talk about non-standard home loans. Non-standard home loans in which people know the traditional ways with the FHA loans, the conventional loans, the VA loans. And I'm going to give you all some insights on some non-standard home loans, just in case they may benefit someone else, because there are many ways to purchase a home. Of course, most people don't have the funds to buy a home right out, but you do have the necessary resources to get a home. And I hope that these non-standard homes will help someone. Now, I mentioned them at the top. As you can see, I'm going to talk about the assumable loans, the interest-only loans, the adjustable rate loans, which is an ARM, the DSCR loans, okay? Now, these four types of loans have different strategies for buying properties, ranging from taking over existing debt to qualifying based on investment income rather than personal income. The number one, the assumable loans. Some people I know, when they're looking to buy homes, they see that, oh, it says in their assumable loans, for example, if someone bought a home in 2021 and they got an extremely low interest rate, let's say 2%, 3%, you can take over that loan. People say, oh, how can I do that? An assumable loan allows a buyer to take over the seller's existing mortgage, including the original interest rate and the remaining balance. In that case, you have to still, with the difference and everything, pay for that. Meaning you can do it in the form of a loan, a second loan, or also if you have the funds and means to do so. But that is an option. The buyer inherits the seller's interest rate, which is very valuable if the market rates currently are higher. Applicable is typical FHA loan, VA loan, USDA loans are assumable. Conventional loans are rarely assumable, just so you know that. The lender must approve the buyer for the assumption, requiring them to meet credit and income requirements. The downside is the buyers must pay the seller for any equity they have built up in the home, which often requires a large cash payment, the difference between the sale price and the assumed loan balance. Okay, that's the assumable loan. So when you'll see that out there, just know that's how that works. Interest-only loans. These loans were very, very popular before the housing market crashed back in 2008. There are some people who still use them today. Very few people do use them, but depending on what a person is buying and for how long they're buying, it is applicable. For example, there are some people who want to live in a mansion, live in $1 million home, okay? With an interest-only loan, an interest-only loan is the type of mortgage where the borrower is only required to pay the interest for a set period, typically 5 to 10 years, rather than both principal and interest. What the interest-only loan does, it gives them lowest initial monthly payments during the interest-only period. After the initial period ends, the loan converts to the standard higher payment that includes principal repayment. Now, here's the risk with this loan. The loan amount, the principal, does not decrease during the interest only period, meaning borrowers do not build equity through the payments. They don't build equity. So this is best for investors looking for cash flow flexibilities or buyers expecting a significant income increase in the future. Keep that in mind, okay? The adjustable rate loan, which is an ARM, it's also called an adjustable rate mortgage. This loan was also popular during before the housing market crashed in 2008. Now, between the interest only loans and adjustable rate, part of the reason these things were popular, it got a lot of people in. Like I mentioned about the risk with the interest only, here's the thing. The adjustable rate mortgage are home loans with interest rate that fluctuate over the life of the loan based on market conditions. For example, if you purchased a home in 2021 where the interest rate was 3% or 2%, and then in 2024 when it went up to 5 and 6%, your interest rate would adjust accordingly. The thing about this is these normally get people in a home, but they don't keep people in a home because payments can skyrocket. Now, an initial teaser or fixed period is normally 5, 7, or 10 years with a lower interest rate, followed by a periodic adjustment, often once a year or every 6 months. Now, the rate is linked to a financial index, and once the fixed period ends, that rate changes based on that index plus a margin. Pros and cons: offers lower initial payments, but carries the risk of significantly higher payments if the market interest rates rise. Now, this is best for borrowers who plan to sell or refinance their home before the fixed period ends. The only issue with that is you don't know when it's going to end. A lot of people can't predict the market, even though people think they can. You have analysts on TV and they give their professional opinion, but nobody knows anything. They just give a projection. Just like when we go through a housing market crash or recession, people always say, oh, we're going to do fine, but it happens. Life happens. Life's for everyone. So, and the fourth loan that I want to talk about is the DSCR loan. This is the debt service coverage ratio. This is more for an investor, okay? Now, a DSCR loan is a type of non-qualified mortgage loan designed for real estate investors that allows them to qualify based on the income, the rent, the income generated by the property, not their personal income, okay? Understand it's based off the rent that you're going to get from the property. This is why I said some of these loans are, non-standard loans, but they're beneficial for people, especially people who are looking to invest. Now, no personal income documentations like tax returns or W-2s is required. Lenders calculate a ratio by dividing the property's gross rental income by its monthly debt obligation, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, H.O.W., property management in some case. These things are how it works, and that's what determines. A ratio of 1 or higher usually means that the property can pay for itself, though lenders often look for 1.25 or higher. The downside is higher down payments. You normally have to put down 20 to 25%, and you normally have a higher interest rate compared to a conventional loan. So if you are looking to use this type of loan, you have to have the funds to put down, but you also need to make sure that that property is generating substantial positive cash flow in order for it to work. But here's the thing, and this is what I always like to tell people: always look at the numbers. The problem is people want to jump out there. They want to get into investment. They want to do this. They want to do that, but they do not do the numbers. Always look at your numbers. Your numbers will dictate your future. It would dictate the outcome on all of these loan products. They are beneficial to some people depending on your usage for the home, depending on your goal for the home. Like I said, some people don't plan to live in homes forever. Some people plan on living in a home for 5 years, maybe, sometimes even less. Some people, when they do things, they like to invest and they don't want to use their personal income, or they can't use their personal income because they have maybe other properties. They may not have the resources, but they can they can use this. These are creative ways to get a home. You just have to know which loans are out there. Like I said in the beginning, there are typical standard loans, the FHA, conventional loans, and the VA loan. But these are other home loans that people can use that they may not have been aware of. So I hope that that insight helped you all out a little bit, and I will be back with my house of the week. All right, let me get into this house of the week. Now, this property is located in DC. This is a 4 bedroom. Let me pull it up. This is a 4 bedroom, 4.5 bath house with 2 car driveway off of Rhode Island Avenue near the DC line. This home, this home is perfect for someone who wants city living, someone who wants ample parking, someone who wants easy access to metro. This is perfect. So if you're looking to purchase in DC, you want 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bath, 4 levels. This is the perfect home in Washington, DC. Please inquire within so you can get a personal tour and you can make this your forever home. Reach out to me. It is near the DC Maryland line off of Rhode Island Avenue in Northeast DC, not too far from South Dakota Avenue, not too far from Rhode Island Metro. All right. That's the house. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect for someone looking to be in the city and have city life. This is perfect. All right. All right, you all. My next segment will be my Q&A, which is the questions and answers. All right. The next one is Q&A, which is the questions and answer. All right. So if you have any questions and questions that you want answered as well, please always reach out to me about those, and we can. Hold on for 1 second. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. So I had to get the questions. The questions right now is first question. Here we go. Let me get to them. The first question is, people think more space equals better investment. Is that always true? People think more space equals better investment. Is that always true? Well, more space usually means higher taxes, higher maintenance, and sometimes a slower appreciation, which actually what really matters when it pertains to space is location, demand, and the layout, not just square footage. For example, I just showed you a house in DC. Okay. Now in DC, there are a lot of homes that are typically like they are they're like row houses, they're next to each other. But you will have some homes in DC that are priced higher than, let's say, a single family home in Maryland or Virginia that has a lot of space. So again, when it pertains to space, what matters is the location of the property, the demand of the area, and the layout, not just square footage. Okay. Number two, how do you break down a realistic monthly payment? How do you break down a realistic monthly payment? Well, here's the thing. Your real payment includes principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and sometimes HOA. So that's a estimate can easily be depending on the price of the home. It can vary. The realistic monthly payment will really be with you, the buyer. What is realistic to you? What can you really afford? Again, there are a lot of people who buy homes and they end up being house poor because they take into consideration all the expenses such as the taxes, the interest, the insurance, sometimes the HOA. This is why in some townhome communities or condo communities, the delinquency rate is extremely high with people paying their HOA because of the fact that they tend to not pay attention to what they should pay. They tend to really focus on when it pertains to anything like the price of the house. The price of the matters. What is more realistic is your monthly payment. That matters price because again, if you buy a relatively cheap, buy a relatively high house, and you have a low mortgage, what matters is your monthly mortgage payment because after it's all said and done, that's what you're going to be focused on after you purchase the home. You're going to remember what you paid for the home, but you're going to be focused more so on your monthly payment. So a realistic monthly payment breakdown, like I said, is making sure in your HOA or condo fee you have an HOA or condo. Three, everybody's watching the market, but not everybody understands it. What are they missing? Everybody's watching the market, but not everybody understands it. What are they missing? Here's what most people are missing. People focus more on the interest rate than they do when it pertains to the price of the home. Let's go back. This is 2026. Let's go back to 2021. Okay, 5 years ago, the interest rate was extremely low. There are people who say, "Oh, I'm going to wait until the interest rate go down again," and then what they fail to realize is interest rate floats around 6, let's say 7%, and the interest rate had went down to 2% 5 years ago. That's a 5% difference. But what they fail to realize is the appreciation of home over the years is depend in this particular area is 6 to 8%. Let's go on the low end, 6%. So they waited 5 years for the interest rate to go down five percentage, but the homes are going up 6%. So 6% in 5 years is what? 30%. So hypothetically, if a home costs 300,000 in 2021, the house is what? What's that calculation? What did I say? 30%. So that's 390,000 now. So now what they fail to realize is that their mortgage payment is going to be higher even if they lower the interest rate. That's why you buy real estate and then you wait. You don't wait and you buy real estate. So they focus on the interest rate, but ignore inventory, demand, and negotiation power. That's where the real opportunities are. Okay. So if you have more questions, please just DM me. All right. Question number, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it better to buy in a hot area or an up and coming one? Is it better to buy in a hot area or up and coming one? Hot areas normally equals safer, more expensive. Up and coming normally means more risks, but higher upside. This really depends on your strategy, homeowner versus investor. And the reason why I say that is because it depends on why you are buying. If you are a homeowner and you're buying, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. You also, if you know that in a couple of years you're going to look at the resale value, you need to take everything into consideration. And if you're an investor, you have to take the pros and cons into consideration. This is why I say it depends on your strategy. Now, I can help you process that more depending on what your needs are. But that's just such an open, broad question that I can't really break it down because everyone is different. Some people want to buy real estate to invest. Some people want to buy for themselves. Some people want to buy for their family. Some people want to just buy, just to live in for their forever home. It really depends on you and your strategy. But we can always hold a conversation to break down, and I can ask you more questions. Question number 5: where do people give up leverage without realizing it? Where do people give up leverage without realizing? Here's the thing. They give up leverage when they waive inspection contingencies, when they overbid sometimes, or when they rush decisions because home inspections come back with a few minor things, or things pop up on the property such as liens, and everyone knows title company clear liens before they can even transfer title over to the new buyer. See, people give up too soon because they panic. Most buyers don't even understand it, but this is the reason why a real estate professional such as myself should be breaking down things to a person. Sometimes people don't break things down because they don't know themselves. And sometimes it depends on who you're working with. But again, they give up leverage when they waive their contingencies, when they overbid, when they rush the decisions, and when they go to TV and watch HGTV or go on Zillow or Redfin and they don't listen to their real estate professional. They give up leverage because those people on the other end can't answer specific questions. They can give you some insights on things, but real estate is always location, location, location. What applies in DC is not the same that applies in New York. What applies in New York is not the same what applies in Texas. What applies in Texas is not the same as what goes on in California. What's in California is not the same as Florida, and that's how real estate works. This is the reason why you should always consult your real estate professional, because if you don't know what you may get yourself into. Okay? All right, so I answered all those questions. I hope that I answered them for a lot of people. If you yourself have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or send me those questions, because I love answering all these questions. These questions are very good questions. I want to thank you all who sent these questions in. Now I'm going to come back with my topic of the day. Give me a second. All right. Please follow me on all social media platforms. If you're not, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, Snapchat, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and it's always hashtag Damon the Agent, except on Pinterest, it is Agent Damon. Now, right now, I'm going to talk about my group. I have a group that I'm formulating. It's called F7 Men's Group, where we focus on faith, family, finances, fitness, fellowship, and fun just for the fellas. Now, I created this group because I realized there's a strong need for fellowship and needs for men. It's for all men, but especially black men. Lately, you have seen that a lot of black men have been crashing out, killing themselves, killing their families, killing their wives, girlfriends, also killing other black men, lunching, just doing too much. One of the things that I realized is a lot of men don't know how to control their emotions, because a lot of men haven't been taught how to control their emotions. Unfortunately, when it pertains to most black men, we know how to formulate aggression. We know how to bring out things in anger and stuff. This is why you see some people excel extremely well in sports, because they're taking out their aggression. Aggression is good if it's applied in the right way, but aggression is bad when it keeps forming into aggression. And unfortunately, in this world, as men, especially black men, we are one of the most undervalued and underappreciated species on the planet Earth. And a lot of men deal with a lot of problems. A lot of men don't have anyone else they can confide into. Women have all these groups for everything. Doesn't matter fitness. It don't matter if you go through depression, if you need help with finance and stuff. As a man, men are being told, figure it out. You a man. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we also know, or I also know, that as men, sometimes we can't confide in the females in our life because they they can't handle it the same. This is why sometimes, like, let's say in the Black community, the way we talk to each other, we're loud and we seem aggressive. But to, let's say, cops that are not from where we're from, they take that as aggression. But we're just talking. We could be talking about sports, getting loud, oh, you da 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 da. But they take that our behavior as aggression. So I say all this to say that I realize there's a need, for a lot of men to come to God. See, I have a hat on that said God got me, because, many, many years ago when I lost my brother in 2003, I realized that if it wasn't for the church and God, I don't know what I would have did, because there was a lot of thoughts going on through my head and stuff. I've dealt with a lot of issues pertaining to my family, to opposition. It's so much that I've dealt with, for finances, fitness, and everything. And I realized that for me, I have a combination of these things that I do, which has helped me over the years to alleviate a lot of the aggressions, a lot of the thoughts that I've had in my head. So I want to share with a lot of males. Now, understand the ages is from 5 to 105. All are welcome, all race. It does not matter. We're going to be doing a lot of activities. We're going to be focusing on like I said, faith, getting spiritually grounded. Even if you're a Muslim, doesn't matter. We're going to be focusing on being better men for our families. We're going to be focused on finances, because in a lot of times as men get older, they're not good with finances. They just give the money to their girlfriend or wives. And at the same time, though, they're not good at paying bills. We're going to be focusing on those things. Also making sure that men, have things in place for their family when they pass away. We're going to try to leave them a legacy, not just bills. We're going to be, focusing on our health, working out, because as men get older, they got get on a lot of medication. They have diabetes. They have all these things. We're focusing on these things so we can become better men. We're going to have fellowship amongst each other. We're going to have fun, basketball activities. We're going to have outings. I'm going to be teaching on financial strategies, and also I'm going to be teaching on real estate. All this I'm going to be teaching for, just for the fellas, so we can be better men. And I'm looking for people who always want to be better, a better version of themselves tomorrow than they were yesterday. So if you know any men or males, because I've had some people reach out to me about their teenage sons, please let me know. We're going to have our first meeting next Saturday, May 6th at 12:30 p.m. via Google Meet. The reason why I say Google Meet, because I know everybody doesn't have an iPhone. I don't want people fussing and tripping off, oh, somebody Android or something. So we're going to do Google Meet, just do an introduction, go over the strategies and plans for the group. Again, if you know anyone who needs to be a part of this. And here's the thing about men. You recommend this to men, they're like, I don't want to be a part of that, because most men don't even want to go to counseling, okay? It's not just men getting together and we're talking about our problems. We are going to become better, a better version of ourselves tomorrow than we were yesterday. That's the goal. And we're doing it through faith, family, finances, fitness, fellowship, and fun, just for the fellas. So again, like I said, God got me, God got you. But a lot of times when it pertains to men, they feel like ain't nobody got them. Even when they in relationship, they feel like people don't understand, that people can't relate. And the stress of the world sometimes is on a lot of men. And we're gonna work on breaking that for a lot of people, because a lot of people need help. They crying out inside, because a lot of men suffer in silence. This is why people are crashing out. I'm not justifying anything that these crazy people have done, but I'm saying that it got to a breaking point with so many people that they crashed out. Sometimes things can be prevented. I'm not saying everything can be prevented, but some things can be prevented. Again, if you know anyone who needs to talk to other men, vent to other men, because we go through so much. If y'all hear the conversations I had with other men, we go through so much. And of course, many women ain't going to understand. Just like as men, we can't understand when it pertains to what you'll go through physically in your body. So, but again, I just wanted to share that. Please spread the word. Share this. Also, like I said, next week, Saturday, May 2nd, 12:30 p.m. Zoom. We're going to get it rolling, get it started, and make sure I'll have a link and page for that as well. I'll make sure I send that to anyone who's looking to join. But in the meantime, I want to thank each and every one of you all for joining me each and every Friday. I really appreciate your time. Listen, if you know anyone that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in DC, Maryland, or Virginia, please DM me, reach out to me, visit my website, damontheagent.com. And also, if you know anyone who's looking to, get some insurance, please also reach out to me. I can help in that manner too. And also to give mortgage protection on your home. Listen, I'm a resource to all. I'm here to help. And I thank you. And I'm going to join you next Friday, same time.
We sure could use the money.
Time for some upgrades. We're pregnant.
Oh my goodness, I need to downsize.
We buy houses for cash as is.
Damon the Agent. A name you can trust.
Okay, I'm sorry.